Today we're going to be taking a look at this $100 PC that I picked up from Facebook Marketplace to see just how good it is. And wow, did I get an amazing deal on this sweet little PC. The listing was just for a $100 computer, and I went and purchased it from a really nice lady. And what made me really take the gamble with it was the Intel Core i7 9th generation sticker on the front of it, so it had to be something decent. A lot of people in my comments ask me how I get computers for such low prices, and my biggest tip is going to be being chronically online on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, and constantly bidding on computers and looking for deals. This PC featured a very nice front I/O, as you can see, with plenty of USB ports, even a USB-C, and a SD card reader is always super nice. Now, opening up the Dell XPS, I wasn't really sure what we were going to get, but I did see some sort of graphics card right there in the PCIe lane. But this thing was super easy to open. You just unlock it from the left, pull this little latch right there, and it opens right on up. Now, opening it up, I was a little bit surprised just by the layout in the beginning. It looked a little finicky and I was like, oh, the power supply is right there in the front. That's kind of interesting. But if you just read the instructions on the front, you just pull the power supply and everything moves out in a very convenient way. Dell definitely didn't make the most modular system here, but it's really cool how they compacted this all into this machine. And here at this point, I'm still super confused what this graphics card even is. And I really thought it was like a low profile like GT640 or something like that. And oh boy was I wrong. This is the GTX 1650 DE, which just stands for Dell Optiplex as far as I'm aware, and this was super dusty, but man, I could not believe that this thing came with a GTX 1650. I have never quite seen a GTX 1650 like this before. The fan just looked super odd. I had seen some GT640s that looked similar to this on eBay, but nothing as powerful as a GTX 1650. Let me know down in the comments below if any of you guys are still rocking the GTX 1600 series. I hear those are pretty great GPUs. I didn't really get to use them a lot, but yeah, let me know. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other components and see just how good they are spec-wise. For the CPU, we're rocking the i7-9700, which features 8 cores, 8 threads, a base clock of 3 GHz, and a boost clock all the way up to 4.7 GHz. It also features 12 megabytes of L3 cache and has a TDP of 65 watts. So this awesome little CPU leaves a lot of wiggle room for future GPU upgrades. It's not super powerful, but a still pretty good processor. Now for the GPU, we have the GeForce GTX 1650, which features 896 CUDA cores, 4 gigs of GDDR5 memory, a base clock of 1485 MHz, and a boost clock all the way up to 1665 MHz. Now this does vary by some models, but for this model that should be the speed. It also has a 128-bit memory bus and a TDP of 75 watts, so no external power necessary. And I was very surprised just how well this GPU holds up in 2026. Now for another banger, we've got 4 8GB sticks of DDR4 memory running at 2400 megatransfers. So yeah, this was an absolute steal of a computer. So let's go ahead and quit the yapping and get straight into the benchmarks. The first game we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Forza Horizon 6, running at 1920 by 1080 at the medium preset. And we were looking at a very consistent 34 FPS average. Now I've been getting a lot of hate on my recent videos saying that 30 FPS for racing games isn't great, and I beg to differ because a lot of us started playing Forza back on the old Xbox 360, and it was just fine. Of course 60 FPS is always going to be the better experience, but considering this is a low profile GTX 1650 with only 4 gigs of VRAM, I would consider this an absolute win. Next up, we've got an absolutely demanding game, Fatekeeper running at 1280 by 720 on all of the lowest settings possible. And surprisingly, this game still looked super amazing, even on this low-profile GTX 1650. The FPS on this was all over the place. When we were out in the open, just looking at mountains, we were getting a well above 30 FPS experience. But once we got a little bit further into the game, where there was more dense features and a lot more going on the screen, we could not even maintain a above 20 FPS experience. So this game is not playable whatsoever on this GPU, especially considering just how low we have to drop the resolution. Next up, we've got Arc Raiders running at 1920 by 1080 on the high preset, and this game can honestly run on a potato. It gets very good CPU and GPU utilization across most of the testing that I do. And this was no different. With the GTX 1650 and i7-9700, we were getting a very playable, above 30 FPS experience. Now I know a lot of people on this are going to want that 60 FPS for more of a competitive edge, and that's what makes PC gaming so great. You can always lower the settings down to low or medium, and get that smooth 60 FPS you're looking for. So, in the end, Arc Raiders is totally playable on this $100 computer. Now we have the latest LEGO Batman game, running at 1920 by 1080 on the medium preset, and this game ran super well at 1080p. We're looking around 30 FPS all the way up to 55, so it was a totally playable experience for just a LEGO game, while also looking really new and really good, in my opinion. And honestly, looking at all these benchmarks that we've done so far, I could totally use this graphics card if it was the only thing that I had. So yeah, the newest LEGO Batman definitely gets a huge thumbs up from me. Here we have BeamNG running at 1920 by 1080 on the normal preset. And here we were looking at a 53 FPS average, which is a super playable experience for BeamNG. Do keep in mind we weren't running any NPCs in the background. We were only playing on the jungle map. And yeah, this game looks pretty great even at the normal preset, and especially feels great on this GTX 1650. So if you are wanting to play BeamNG with this specific graphics card, you can definitely do it. And you can probably increase the preset all the way up to high or ultra and get a more 30 FPS experience if that is what you're looking for. Or you can drop it all the way down to low and definitely hit that 60 FPS mark. For the next little bit, we've got some more easy to run games. We have Minecraft at a 15 render distance and a 10 simulation render distance with all of the highest settings available. We're also using the complimentary Reimagined shader pack with the high default. And here we are looking at an above 40 FPS average, and keep in mind this was me in creative mode, flying around constantly creating new chunks, stressing the CPU and GPU. And this is the only time and the only game that we tested where the CPU was absolutely on fire, looking at 90 degrees Celsius. So the CPU was being pushed a lot more than a lot of the other games. And once we got down on the ground level and we're walking around in already rendered chunks, we were looking at a much more consistent 50 FPS average. Again, call me an old head, but 30 FPS or higher in single player games like this is a totally playable experience for me. Next up, we've got Counter-Strike 2 running at 1280 by 960 in the 4:3 aspect ratio. This aspect ratio and resolution is a lot more common in the Counter-Strike competitive scene, and this is to help push as much frames as possible, and we're looking at a well above 175 FPS average, which is great for Counter-Strike 2 and a totally playable competitive experience. There's still a lot of utilization in the CPU and GPU, so this is a great pairing for Counter-Strike 2. And last but not least, we have one of my favorite games, Arma Reforger, running at 1080p on the low preset. This game's really good at pushing the GPU as far as it can go, and we're having to run it at the low preset, and we're still looking at an above 30 FPS experience for the most part, which is a totally playable experience in a single player Arma Reforger match. So if you're wanting to play a little bit of Arma Reforger, you totally can on this sweet little graphics card. And in conclusion, this $100 gaming PC is a total win. We were able to play pretty much every game that we wanted to, besides some odd ones like Fatekeeper. But if you're wanting to play some Fortnite, some Counter-Strike, and a lot of newer AAA titles, as long as you set your expectations a little bit low, this computer will go a long way for you. There were also some included PCIe cords, so you can totally upgrade the GPU further on down the line. If this was the only computer that I could use, I would be totally happy with this little rig. It would do all the processing power and basic browsing that I need it to, alongside a lot of gaming. I will be leaving a poll within my community to see what graphics card or CPU upgrade you want me to make with this, and if you want me to continue using Windows or Linux. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and if you do like these kind of videos, feel free to subscribe and check out this latest video that I have posted. Thank you.